www.offthecorner.net. You're watching the Fact Project here on Full Blast Radio. And FACT is an acronym that stands for Fundamental African Centered Thought. The goal here on the Fact Project is to convey some facts and some information to members of our community. We have slated to join us today Brother Kwabena Rasuli, who many of you may know from the Clear the Airways project. He's also involved in the National Black Leadership Alliance. He's also done a lot of great work with CMOTAP, which is the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People. And I did just see him backstage, but it seems he's having a technical problem of some sort. So we hope that Brother Kwabena can join us to give us an update on the Netflix boycott. He moderated a panel on Saturday that was conducted by himself and CMOTAP, and it was an update on the boycott against Netflix. And for those that may not be in the know, there has been a campaign launched against Netflix because of their animated reboot of Good Times. And Brother Kwabena is here to elaborate on that. Peace, Brother Kwabena. Thank you for joining us today, brother.
Hey, you're welcome, brother. Good to be here with you, man.
Yeah, I was just trying to update the audience about the CMOTAP Zoom. That was a follow-up to a Zoom that occurred 2 weeks previous. So what can you tell us about the Zoom from this past Saturday?
I believe the Zoom was very important and necessary, just following up on some tasks that we were charged with 2 weeks ago to find out, get updates from the people. This was a Zoom. This was pretty much a meeting, though, where the people got a chance to share what happened, because again, on the 27th, we were given instructions, and we all came up with things that we needed to do in order to start putting that pressure on Netflix. And so that's what took place. People chimed in on things that we were told to do, like was to cancel your Netflix subscription, get with your organizations and your people, your family, your communities, and ask them to do the same. And also, when you cancel your Netflix subscription, let the people know why you're canceling your subscription. And pretty much that was it. That was the main thing. And then following up on what were the next steps.
Okay, so can you take us back to the beginning? What sparked the outrage against Netflix? This is for the people that may not have seen you on with us last time.
What sparked the outrage was the reboot. They call it a reboot of the very popular sitcom Good Times that when it came out 50 years ago, people were excited about. And that's what sparked it. They came out with a cartoon of this and was totally disrespectful. It was produced by Norman Lear, Steph Curry, and Seth MacFarlane. And the sitcom just made a mockery out of the series, and it was horrible. And so what happened was the trailer was released, because a lot of us didn't even know what was coming out. When the trailer was released, I think I've mentioned last week, I saw Ray Winbush had sent it out, and I saw the trailer. I was like, oh no, this is not happening. And I immediately contacted Dr. McIntosh from CMOTAP, and I even talked to our brother LeGrand Clegg from CMOTAP West, attorney LeGrand Clegg. And, they all went in like, okay, it's time to, no, this is not what it is. And the thing is, it wasn't just them. It was the masses of our people said, no, we didn't want this. What is this? This is not Good Times. This is an embarrassment to our race. This is ridiculous.
And what were some of the things that you saw in the trailer? Explain the trailer for the people that may not have seen it.
The trailer, it starts off, again, with them in the same apartment building or same project apartment that they were in 50 years ago on Good Times. And I don't know if it was like 45 years ago. I don't know how long, I can't recall how many years the show stayed on, probably 4 or 5 years, something like that. But at the end of it, they moved out of the projects. Number one. Number two is those projects don't even exist anymore. Cabrini Green, they still have a few of the homes there in Cabrini Green, but they're not the high rises. The high rises do not exist. I have comrades here in Gary, Indiana, who lived in Cabrini Green during that time. You know, they still go there for reunions and stuff and what have you. I was over there not too long ago when a young man was shot and killed. You know, and the people came out, and this was in a portion of that's not no longer there. When you go there now, that area mainly has been gentrified, and so that's one of the things that made the people, you know, well, they didn't make the people outraged because they didn't really people. A lot of people, if you're not from Chicago, you may not know that. Also, the depiction of the people and the animation just had us looking like buffoons and just really, you know, just very disrespectful of the people. Just in the animation itself, you know, the fact that you have what else was in the trailer? The main thing was you have a 2-year-old drug dealer, the baby who's been kicked out of his house at 2 years old, slanging drugs. He gets into it with some rappers, 3 famous baby rappers. 2 of them came out about 5 years ago, The Baby and Little Baby. And also you have the veteran rapper. I don't even know. I can't even tell you many songs that he's even rapped on, but I guess he's one of the leaders of one of the down south Louisiana ratchet rap groups, Baby. They call him Baby. What's Baby's regular name? Or what's his other name? I can't think of Baby's other name right now. But you know, but it's infamous Baby, the one that keep my name out your what's that, keep out whatever you said on the Ratchet Breakfast Club, which by the way just recently had Jimmy Walker, Bernadette Stanis, and also Michael. Michael was on there just recently, and they all said that they were not with this madness. You know, even JJ and Thelma's character, Bernadette and Jimmy Walker, they lend their voice to a portion of this program, and they said, yes, we did not see this coming. And even JJ was like, he wasn't with that. So
they didn't see the script before they recorded for it?
Evidently they did not. And they did not. They just I think they were fooled. And I wish they would sue.
Okay.
I wish they would sue.
Now they based the new animated reboot in the same apartment in the area that was gentrified. What do you think is the subliminal message behind that?
You know, I think y'all ain't going nowhere. You know, y'all still, you know, pretty much y'all ain't going nowhere. But there is, so people are so outraged by this crap. They are doing reviews on each and every episode. And from what I'm understanding, because I have not, one of the things I forgot to say that we have to do is don't watch it via Netflix. One sister I saw, a young sister on TikTok recently, like I said, there's been tons of people coming out against this. But one sister said, don't hate watch it. I just saw this late last week. Don't hate watch it, which means because like us, don't look at it via Netflix like that. And she provided a couple of ways that you can get and see it without Netflix. And the way I've been checking it out, again, is because of all these people who are reviewing the episodes. In one episode, they're talking about the mother becomes the president of the project board or something. She's like the woman in charge. And she becomes in charge because there's an episode where the house is flooded. Not the house, the apartment is flooded. And on this episode, you got the voice of Tisha Campbell singing out the song. If they're calling her to complain, she starts singing out, keeping your head above water. And you can easily tell it's Tisha Campbell's voice. But on that episode, they got roaches floating on an empty beer can. You know, on this episode, man, roaches floating on an empty beer can. So they confront the lady who's who at that time was the person in charge of the projects, almost like a booker in a way, but she's like the woman in charge of the projects. And she ends up putting a hit on not on Tisha Campbell, on the mama in the show, and ends up shooting at her, ends up shooting the father in the show, shooting him in the rear end. So he walks around on this episode, the whole episode, with his rear end out, you know, because he got shot. on the whole
Wow.
episode,
Wow.
and they end up killing the Tisha Campbell character. She ends up dying. Somebody knocks her off the stairs or ledge or something, and she dies. And as soon as she dies, rats run down and devour her body.
Mm.
This is a type of gross ratchetness that's involved in this animated sitcom.
Now,
And so it goes on. So when the mother character takes over, and the daughter who's supposed to be radical, but they end up like letting the people know they're going to remodel their apartments, and at that point, white folks are supposed to be moving in. So that's kind of like one of the last episodes. So they try to put some stuff in there, like they show in the trailer, where they're bringing guns into the projects and just leaving them there for the people to just pick up. You see that in the trailer. So they're trying to put some stuff in there to make us be okay with this madness. But we already know this. We don't need y'all to be doing that. And then you, at the same time, you got baby drug dealers. You got teachers with a flask of alcohol in their top pocket, smoking a cigarette, telling the family that their junior, his name is Junior now, another junior, like the JJ type character who's also an artist, telling the parents he can't pass the 10th grade. So let me see his feet. So maybe he can be on OnlyFans. Maybe he can be on a porn like website, insinuating that his feet size equates to his tool size, his penis size.
okay, now, and this differs drastically, obviously, from the original Good Times. Explain to us what was the concept of the original Good Times, because it was the complete opposite of this.
Oh, it was the creation of Eric Monte, who's a writer and out of Chicago area. He was responsible for like Cooley High and other things. And we had Brother Primo Ramey, a good brother out of Chicago who worked with Eric Monte. He was on with us on that first Zoom, and he talked about this too. But Eric Monte kind of got into it with Norman Lear. And it's interesting, though, if you look at the Good Times television show, which is on all the time, even today on TV, you will see Eric Monte. He gets credit for that. And so it's about a family. And I understand that they had to struggle with them when they started the show to make sure they had a man in the house with them, which is, James Evans, John Amos. And so it's about a family who are battling the issues, struggling in Chicago. And again, it was depicted just 5 years after the assassination, as a brutal police assassination, government assassination of Chairman Fred Hampton and the F.A.C.T captain Mark Clark in Chicago, which took place in 1969. So we are 5 years later, kind of like in the same. Actually, it's right after the end of that revolutionary movement, and they're trying to make it. They're struggling, and you got the little son Michael, they called him the militant midget because he was like, to me, the heart and soul of the show in terms of the things he would do in the show. And matter of fact, there was an episode he put up this Black Jesus, that a painting that JJ had done, and they kind of try to depict this in the sitcom. You see that in the trailer where they have the Jesus character coming out, and then they put a Black Jesus, and the Jesus character has his fingernails painted. Who this, Dr. McIntosh talked about that. That's like a play on something he said, Stephen Fetchit or something, or one of those ratchet characters, minstrel type characters used to do, where they would answer when people would call or ask for him, knock on the door or something. So who that, or who this or something, when he's given the phone, I guess, by God. And I don't know. It's so you got the Michael character, who's now, you had Michael, the young brother, who was part of the family, militant. You have the beautiful daughter, Thelma, Bernadette Saddis, and you have, of course, JJ, the clown, buffoonery acting son, always saying dynamite, whose character kind of evolved later on in the show. But they kill off the daddy because John Amos was tired of the character JJ and all the buffoonery in the show. So they kill him off, and then the show continues on for a little while. But I used to think the show was real corny for myself as I became an adult, until not too long ago when the reruns start coming on, and I would watch them sometime. And there is some messages in here. At the end of every show, there was some sort of redeeming message in it. And so that's what Good Times is about. Struggling. You had this Willona was on there. Janet DeBoer, trying to help them out, providing some comic relief, good friend to the family. And of course, Esther Roll, the mother, the matriarch.
Yeah. The image of the Black Jesus was Ned the Wino.
That's right. Yep.
If you remember the episode. Now, in the animated reboot, you talk about the God figure character having painted fingernails. What do you take from that? What do you detract from the fingernails being painted? What does that mean?
I'm not saying if it was trying to just. I'm not sure. I don't know if it was emasculation. Emasculation or what? But it was interesting that they did that. That may be part of it.
Okay.
Nowadays,
And so the campaign is to cancel your Netflix. Now, is this to cancel your Netflix until they remove Good Times from Netflix, or is this to cancel your Netflix until they file for bankruptcy and continue to boycott until you put them out of business? What's the call?
The call is to cancel the Netflix so they feel it. That's why we said also let them know why you cancel it. Whether they have to file for bankruptcy, whether they see a serious decrease in their subscriptions, whether their sponsors get a hold of it and say, okay, these people are canceling this, so hey, why? What y'all doing? Oh no, maybe we may not want to. And also to let them know that y'all can't be doing this to us. You do it too much in this ratchet killer rap music. You do it much in these movies and stuff. And right now we've been allowing it. We've been speaking out sometime against it in the bro. That's what that's one of the ways we hooked up because of Artist Day with the Clear the Airways Project and other groups. And we're not the only one. Rage Against the Ratchet and other groups, yourself, who are fed up with what they're giving us in this ratchet kill black people rap music. And so now they're doing it in a cartoon. And the people, again, this is what's amazing to me and which is great to me. The people are outraged and they're expressing their outrage of this.
And so people at the follow-up meeting, they're saying that they're canceling their Netflix.
Yeah, there were people saying that they had canceled their Netflix. I've run into people myself who said they were canceling. And it's a struggle because a lot of people aren't canceling and don't want to cancel it too. Got to keep it real on that. And a lot of people are, a lot of people are because there's so much on that. I mean, I'm looking at right now. They got these Netflix comedy specials. Netflix is a powerful. We know how powerful they are, but they can be defeated. We people think they're giant. They wouldn't do that to anybody else to this extent.
That was my next question. If any other group was depicted in this way, what do you think the response would be?
I think they know better. Sometimes they try it a little bit, and then right away the people, and a lot of these other marginalized groups or other groups, they right away jump on it. They right away react. They right away get on them about it, and that's what we have to do.
Now, Netflix has a portion of their website that is committed to leaving comments. I don't know if that's open for the public, but people that are involved in the campaign, are they leaving comments on the Netflix website as they're canceling their subscription?
That's what people have shared. That's what they've done. They've commented. I call. I don't have a Netflix subscription, so I called them and voiced my complaint. There is a number, and I apologize, I don't have it with me right now, but you can find that number and call them and file a complaint. And that may be something we're going to be doing jointly very soon. But
And when you called them, you was a machine or you spoke to a human?
I actually spoke to a human being, and they said they were going to pass along they said they were going to pass it along.
Okay, and what did you say when you spoke to the individual?
I let them know that we were the people were outraged, and I was outraged at this animated reboot of Good Times that they call Good Times Black again. By the way, I don't know if we mentioned that, and I let them know the reason why. I gave them some examples of some of the ratchetness that was seen and heard on the trailer at the time, because at that time, it had came out already. So we talked about that, and I let them know, and they said they were going to forward it on. And my one, again, as you probably are aware, my one complaint, while it may mean something, it's nothing compared to the complaint that would be from coming from the masses of the people.
Now, there are plenty of actors. You said Tisha Campbell is involved with this, and there's a handful of comedians. Are they being held to account as well?
Not to the extent that they probably should be, but people are having pressure on them. I know the showrunner, Renata Shepherd, she has been checked, not enough, but she is has responded, has not responded. I don't think of course, to our satisfaction, because the response to our satisfaction is say, nope, this was a mistake. Take it down. This won't be happening again. And I will work to make sure it won't happen again. So no, I don't think they've been, not enough. I mean, people haven't, and these people a lot of times are puppets. And that's what I remember Dr. McIntosh was talking about, beating up on a puppet. I mean, what good is that going to do? I mean, it'll be an example for the others, which still has to happen. But that's why we're going after the Netflix and the Seth MacFarlane's and what have you.
And part of the campaign is also writing a snail mail letter to the address of Netflix. Is that correct?
Yes, that's part of the campaign too. Write them a snail mail letter, and I'm trying to bring up the letter that not just snail mail. We have a letter now from Netflix.
So you mean you got a response from Netflix?
No, we haven't gotten a response from Netflix as of yet.
This is the letter for Netflix.
Yeah, just bear with me a little bit. I'm trying to bring it up on here. I don't know why it's not coming up.
Okay,
but yeah, we have a letter for Netflix.
Okay. I'm gonna I should have that in the email. Did Dr. McIntosh send the email out with the letter?
Yes, he sure did.
Yeah. Okay. So I should have that in my email then. So after this, if anybody wants to copy and paste that letter, I'm going to post that on offthecorner.net. When we get off of here, I'm going to post that website again. It's offthecorner.net. So anyone wanting a copy of this letter, you can copy and paste it and send the letter yourself, or you can write your own letter in your own words. I'm assuming Dr. Mack put the address and all of the contact information in there for Netflix as well. Is that correct?
He may have it on there, but the Netflix address and letter, Netflix has an address in near in Los Angeles.
Okay.
They also have an address. They have a New York address, and I think their main headquarters is right outside of Silicon Valley, just right outside of San Jose, California.
Okay, and I believe the snail mail address was 888 Broadway, New York, New York. You gave us that the last time.
Okay.
So either way, you're saying the campaign is to continue to boycott Netflix by canceling your subscription, leaving comments on their website, and writing snail mail letters. Is there going to be a demonstration of any sort in front of either one of those two addresses that you just mentioned?
The people, as of right now, there has been a demonstration already in front of the address in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And there will be a follow-up, I am sure. And, because this campaign is something that is ongoing. Matter of fact, we are getting together. I don't know why this is not coming up right now. This is amazing. But I've been reading it all night. Last night, I was up real late last night. I know last time there's always some issue, but last time, we met was a serious issue. Because this weekend my brother Jeeva really, we celebrated his life.
Yes. Yeah. We appreciate you getting on with us in that moment. I know that was a tough moment for you. And the long distance revolutionary you toughed it out and made it happen. So we appreciate that.
Right on, man.
What is the next step in the campaign? What was the end result of Saturday's meeting?
The next step is this letter. And again, I will get it here from my phone because we have to share this letter. We shared an article this weekend also, and I will tell you about that with our brother Zaki Baruti out of St. Louis in the African news world, where we addressed this issue.
Okay.
But let me share this out.
And is the National Black Leadership Alliance, have they gotten involved with this as well?
The National Black Leadership Alliance is supportive of this campaign, and also outrage. We've expressed outrage on this outrage also.
Okay, so it seems a lot of individuals are getting involved with this. A lot of organizations are getting on board with this. And if you know the history of Netflix basically put Blockbuster Video out of business. Do you believe that Black people can now put Netflix out of business?
I believe that Black people should put Netflix out of business and call for them. Like that's what we call it, to end our subscriptions. But I want to be real. with the people. Again, as entrenched as they are, as much television and stuff that we are, we have the power, and I'm sure they would really be hurt if we came together. Which it's like, and we talked about this last week, and I haven't looked at it. I don't know what's wrong with this thing of mine, but when we looked at the trailer, and the trailer for some reason on YouTube, you're not able to see the thumbs down. You have to go to do a certain sort of thing to see your thumbs down. You only see the thumbs up. But when you look at the trailer of the Netflix reboot of Good Times, you will see, as last time I checked, was 7,000 thumbs up. 7,000 people liked it, but it was nearly 70,000 people that gave it a thumbs down.
Okay.
So the outrage is there.
Outrage is there. Now, if we do boycott Netflix, and I've canceled my subscription,
Right.
How would we know that it's being effective? Like, is their stock going to go down? Like, how would we know? Because I don't think Netflix is going to be honest right away up front. So how would we know if the boycott is having an impact on Netflix?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we can do that, but I think the people will talk about it. And so, I mean, that's why I think the open letter and all that's good, because a lot of times they just brush stuff off their shoulder. I mean, we find that out with what we did with the radio stations around the country, and that's why, you know, with that whole issue with the Clear the Airways Project and our fight with the FCC and our petition and all that, to just as an example deal with the 2 Chicagoland radio stations, the 2 European-owned Chicagoland radio stations that push this poison on the people. We sent letters to the Federal Communications Commission, and their attorneys had to respond to our letters. And this is the FCC. And so FCC would not respond to our complaint, even after their attorneys had put their response and all that. It took them months, almost 6 months, over 6 months. We put the complaint in, I believe, in August 2021. It wasn't until June, Black Music Month of 2022, that we heard from the FCC. We had to get with our congressman here to put pressure on the FCC to give us response from the Crawford station. And that response was to throw out our complaint. And it was in favor of this radio station that plays all this music that drops N-bombs on Black people, that tell Black people to kill each other, and to tell Black people to be drug addicts and do a lot of the things that are talked about in this sitcom reboot. So it took them, again, from about 10 months, 9-10 months for them to make their decision on the Crawford Dontron station in the Chicago area, probably one of the worst stations in the country. They call it Power 92.3, who's pushing that poison on Black people. And what they were doing was they were playing the same sort of, they were playing songs like I Ain't Got Nowhere to Go, I Didn't Shot Up Everywhere They Was, Back in Blood, Time Today by, what's his brother name? Moneybag Yo. We talk about spinning your block twice, come back, look like the world ain't ended. She ate the D through the underwear. Just all this constantly on the radio. Throat Babies, #1 song in the country for our people. On the other station, the No Heart station, the iHeart station, just horrific music, WAP being played constantly on the air through our community. Spot 'em, got 'em's, shoot him in the back, knock his dreads off on the radio. The baby bragging about urinating in the cup and watching her and tell her to drink it. This is on the radio for African people from 2 European stations. And while we filed complaints again, it took the FCC. They disrespected so much. It took them 9 months to answer. And when they did answer, they answered in favor. It took them until December of 2022. Actually, we didn't get for the license, because one of the things we had called for was to take the license from the Crawford station, the Power 92.3, and to not renew the license of the iHeart station, which is WGCI. And iHeart is the station iHeart has like at least 28 kill Black people radio stations around the country, in cities around the country where fratricide is just outraging. It's just ridiculous. It's been ridiculous for quite some time. And they're playing music encouraging us to kill each other. So it took them we didn't find out until January of 2023 that they had also sided with the iHeart station against us, the FCC. When we laid out all sorts of evidence, we gave them all sorts of examples of the song lyrics that they were playing and all that. And so the main thing they were talking about this is a double entendre. And we feel that the stations that we license, that they're going to operate in the best interest of their community. And that's the same thing they said for both when they did not take the license, snatch the license from the Crawford station, or they did not take the not allow the iHeart station to get to renew their license. But it took until they applied for that renewal. I mean, they were up for renewal in a year earlier, and so we believe that part of what we did was delayed them getting their license back for a year, the iHeart station. So we believe that, but they didn't tell us. They didn't let us know. They just told us what happened. So they didn't tell us anything about that. So it could have affected our sponsors. But see, that's what happens when you have companies and organizations, when you have a lot of movement. We were just a few doing this piece. And so I think with this movement, we have a lot more people, again, who are outraged by this, a lot more people.
Now, Brother Kwabena, in the past, I've seen you tell a story about a small child who was in the barber's chair, the barbershop, correcting the adults as they were talking about some of this race traitor rap music. Repeat that story for the people that have never heard it.
Okay, yeah, there was a song by Polo G, and somebody else was in the song where he bragged. And I remember the first time I heard it. It was the first time, I think the first day I heard it, right after I heard it the first time on the radio, Tuck Your Chain, because what was the name of that song? Because we're going to do a robbery. You know, tuck your chain, we're going to do a robbery. We're not aiming for your body, we're aiming for your head. And so when I heard the song, and I was going to the barbershop at the time, get a lineup and what have you. And so I'm asking the barbers in there, grown men, adult men, different age groups. Y'all heard the song? Because they're always in there dropping M-bombs, talking crazy in this particular shop. See, and they know the movement that we in, so they be getting on me and we be talking about it. So I said, if y'all heard the song, what a rapper says, he tells you, then they play it on the radio that we're gonna do a robbery, so tuck your chain. And we're not aiming for your body, we're aiming for your head. They said, no, I haven't even heard that song. And then this dude sitting in the barber chair said, no, bro, that ain't what they say. They said, we're not aiming for your body, we're aiming for your brain. And I said, oh, that's right. Yeah, because the brain rhymes with chain. And I said, man, how old are you? He said, 9. 9. So the adults didn't know the song, but the child did. The 9-year-old knew the lyrics to the song about shooting somebody in the brain.
And you often said that the campaign was to psychologically taint the mind of our young people.
Yes.
But why do you think they would want to do something like that?
Well, they know that the brain is not fully developed till you're 25. And they know if our children constantly hear N-bombs being dropped, you know the statistics of how many times we see it on TV. But if you listen to the radio, listen to the music, and it's constantly being played in the music, what's it doing to the psyche? We'd say there's a violent audio rape of the minds of the masses of our people with this music constantly being played, telling us to kill each other, telling us we ends, referring to our women folk as bees in nature, saying that I will never wife her. I'll only one nighter. The woman are full of lies. I just F them and pass them to my guys. Just constantly in the ears of our children. Them H's ain't loyal. And then what do we see today? Even people talk about it, whatever. We see Urkel hooking up with not a sister. We see all these athletes, New York Knicks. I remember looking at a picture of the New York Knicks, and then with their significant others, with their ladies. I think one of them had a sister. I look at the picture of one of the football teams. I can't think of what football team it is. Just recently, they showed a picture of the football team, and I saw like one, maybe 2 sisters, and it was a bunch of them with their significant others. And I was like, why? Well, I'm not surprised at this. I wouldn't want to be with no black woman either. If all I hear constantly is that they ain't loyal, or just constantly dogging them. What's his name? I don't know, but it wasn't Young Jock. It was Young Jock. It was what's the one with all the jewelry on all the time that they pub up all the time? I know there's so many.
that describes a lot of them.
I know. What does he say? He said, I'm a dog. I'm gonna treat her like a dog, beat her like a dog, feed her like a dog, and pass her to my dogs.
Mm.
Oh man, the brother, you're getting away because his name is escaping me right now, but he's a very popular just jewelry lace rapper that for some reason, Gucci Mane.
Okay.
So Gucci Mane singing the song I'm a dog. And if that's what we're constantly hearing, it's putting it into our minds to disrespect black women. And then come 2016 to 17, with the advent of Cardi B, who had her first 4, I think the first person to have her first 4 singles in the top 10 ever, first 4 or 5 singles in the top 10 ever. When she came forth, then they came forth with the City Girls, Megan Pete, and now all we see, Before that was just Rihanna, Beyonce, and Nicki that you would hear at pretty much at the beginning of the first 13, 14 years of the century. That's all you would hear in terms of black women. And now all the black women that they promote and push, pretty much all of them are ratchet and demeaning and degrading themselves. And so this is the image our daughters see, our little children see, our sons see of black women, and it's horrid. They know exactly what they're doing. Man, I found a letter too, brother.
Okay. It seems before we come back to the letter, it seems there are more popular ratchet female rappers than male rappers. Am I seeing that right?
Oh no, it's been the way for like the last 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay. And what you're saying basically is that you're alluding to the idea that the music helps to facilitate a certain amount of self-hate among us. Am I hearing that right? Oh
yeah, it's the main. So we look at this word. I mean, it's interesting too with this whole rap feud and all this this that's been so popular lately in this music. And Kendrick Lamar said he cringes when he hears Drake drop an N-bomb. Drake's daddy is an African. His daddy is the brother of Larry Graham of the bass plucker of Graham Central Station and Sly and the Family Stone fame. That's Drake's uncle. And his last name is, I think it's Aubrey Graham or something. His last name is Graham. And whose daddy I think resides in Memphis. But Drake, I guess, grew up in Toronto, whatever. But he cringes every time he hears him drop an N-bomb. I'm like, are you serious, dude? We say that too. We've been saying, I don't know who said it first, because I put a lot of times on my page, every time I hear that word drop, I cringe. And I don't want to get to the point where I don't cringe when I hear it. That means I'll be comfortable with it. But on the same song, he says that twice in the song, this song, Kendrick drops about 12 of them himself.
Interesting.
He drops about 12 of them himself. And we shared that, telling racist, ignorant white folks that they can't drop them, telling Africans who have a European mother or father that they can't drop them, but you can drop them. It's like telling white folks, y'all can't lynch us. We'll take care of that ourselves.
So it seems Kendrick Lamar is suffering from some cognitive dissonance.
Yes. And we've been saying he's not conscious. People always, we do this, like I do a conscious hip hop show, been doing it for 25 years out here. People always say, when we talk about conscious hip hop, it's, oh, you playing Kendrick or what's his name? J. Cole? We rarely play Kendrick or J. Cole on our show because they're not conscious. They're not conscious.
And now a lot of the white-owned distributors and record labels are claiming that this race traitor ratchet rap music is what we want to hear. Is that true?
No, it's what they force feeding us. I don't know, some kind of way iHeart got on my feed, my social media feed, and I just constantly kept hearing them pub up these disses. They pub up and it was like within the last 2 months, constantly they were just putting stuff out, promoting these diss records, promoting this, not just them, the other ones who has gotten involved in it. Now I think even people are tripping on what's my brother out of Compton, coming in. He used to be with G Unit. Now he's doing a diss song. Shaq is doing did one on Shannon Sharp or whatever, a diss record. It started off this year with Hiss from Megan Pete being the #1 song in the country, where she was dissing Nicki Minaj, and Nicki, dissed her back with a song. It was #1 in the country. So, and what did it lead to? If you look at Drake's mansion, got shot up. Somebody did a drive-by at his mansion in Toronto and ended up shooting a security guard. And he was in bad condition the last I heard.
Wow. So a lot of this is leading to actual violence.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so now we talk often about image and the importance of image. There are people that would say that before you practice genocide on a people, you have to destroy the image of those people. Do you believe that that's what's happening here?
Yeah, that was pointed out also in the very important meeting that we just held. That image, the piece on the image, and it was very well pointed out on that piece, because both Dr. McIntosh and Attorney LeGrand Clegg talked about how they set up, ironically, how they set up the Jewish people in Europe, in Germany, by constantly putting out propaganda that depicted them in a derogatory, in a dangerous way, and so it made it easier for them to put that genocide on them. And so they already doing it on us. It's already been happening. Malcolm talked about that in 1962 or 63 in Los Angeles after Ronald Stokes was killed. Talked about how the media paints us and puts the image of us out there, and the media is doing it today because the music is part of this media.
Now, years ago, Public Enemy had a song called "Who Stole the Soul." I think that's a good question to ask now. Who stole the soul out of our music? Because we went from Public Enemy to X-Clan and Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubian. Jungle Brothers were even very conscious at the time, and then you had a lot of lesser known artists like Lakim Shabazz, King Son, Unique and Dashan, who was involved with the X-Clan. The question goes, how did we go from that conscious rap that gave us a sense of pride when we were coming up to this race trader rap? How did we go from one extreme to the next?
Man, it's crazy that you say that, because we have one of my strong comrades in this movement, Bernard Creamer. He wrote a book called "Who Stole the Soul: The Weaponization of Hip Hop." I would ask, please check that out, because he breaks it all. Got a great history of what's happening and what's happening right now. He talks about our project, but he talks about this evil music industry, this and those involved in that who obviously saw this as a way to affect us. And they, people talk about this secret meeting, which did or did not happen, but I always equate it to like the Willie Lynch letter, which people say did or was not produced, but we see the results of those tactics that took place. And the golden age, I'll go back to the golden age of hip hop. And I was in college at the time and DJing, and so we were partying off Chubb Rock's "Treat 'Em Right." We talked about the B word and N word. I don't need those words. No, he said that on the recent song. Matter of fact, he said that with K9 in the song. We said the B word, the N word. I don't need those words. Respect for hers. But on "Treat 'Em Right," what's some of the lyrics? What did he say? Man, one of the lines he says in that song was just so profound, and we just danced like crazy out there. It dealt with violence on that. Kids don't need to hear all that on the record. You know which line I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course, absolutely, yes. Kids don't need to hear all of that on the rap.
Yeah. And we partying. As we party to that, that's message is getting into our head. Self-destruction. We dance to that. It's getting into our head. Rakim's in the Ghetto. We dancing to that, and we listen to those. So just powerful messages in the music. Mo D's. I got to give Mo D credit, man, because that song "Knowledge Is King," I think is still one of the most profound songs in the history of rap music. Those lyrics from that, we party and dance and don't ever glance at a book or look for your mind to advance. You're caught in the rut, chasing butt. Trying to get a dollar or a nut. Evil feeds off the source of apathy, weaken the mind, and of course you have to be less than a man, no more like a thing. Knowledge ain't nothing. Knowledge is king. And the beat for that, they turned around and used that same beat for Gin and Juice.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned Kool Mo D. That's ironic because years ago, if you can recall, Kool Mo D had a record called "Go See the Doctor."
Yes,
which was considered very taboo at the time. That's Sesame Street compared to what's being played on the radio now. Would you agree with that?
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, even with that, he was giving us a lesson, to a certain
right.
It's a lesson.
Right, that's correct. That's correct.
I wholeheartedly agree. Matter of fact, every once in a while I'll play it. Where they scrambled it out is kind of crazy. Every once in a while I play that on my show. And I too, Kool Mo D in this feud that he had with LL, it didn't result into them killing each other, even though we did have violence in hip hop then. And brother, we had talked earlier. I do want to come back to this with all these rap feuds and this violence. So, and going back to this, the feud and the shooting that takes place, they're on a higher Hollywood level. Kendrick did put this man's home, even though it's his mansion or whatever. And we ain't got no love for Drake and what Drake pushes out to the people, but got his home on there. And this dude gets shot. Somebody does a drive-by at his home, So on their level, I guess they cool. But on the level of the masses, even these who are struggling to make rap records and rap songs, we lost 200 rappers died in 2020. 200 rappers.
Wow.
In 2021, there was 250 rappers who died. And of the 250, 200 were from gun violence. And it's all. And if you looked at to the bigger community, we've been averaging over 10,000 homicides every year since 2020.
Wow.
2021, the U.S., I believe, set a record for well over 20,000 homicides, and almost 60% of those were 13% of the population, which were African people. And why would you shoot somebody when you're having a conflict? Why would you try to take their life? Why would you do that? Because you've been programmed to do that. That's how you handle your conflict. And why would you take the life of someone? Just I'm thinking about all of the people on the love just this weekend with the people who have been passing, and that people make people go through this. You don't care about them. You hate them. You hate yourself. That's why we say, people say that the N bomb ain't the reason why all this stuff is happening. I said, words have power. Our ancient ancestors told us that. And if we think that that's what we are, that dehumanizes us. That's deaf music. That's deaf language. And they got us saying it so easily and so like nonchalant in the music, in the sitcom. They said there's so much cussing and M-bomb dropping in this sitcom, in this animated sitcom. It's ridiculous. And that's one of the problems we have with Boondocks. I started watching Boondocks. I started watching that. I remember my niece went out to be one of the voice actors on Boondocks. I took her there when it was coming out. I took her to go. We were in LA. I took her for an audition to be one of the voices of Boondocks. And when I saw the product, I loved their episode on the word. They did an excellent episode depicted with Dr. King, and he addresses the use of that word, powerful. But then for some reason they kept on using the word. And I said, I'm so glad my niece did not get this role.
Now you mentioned a meeting that occurred between a lot of the suits in the music industry, allegedly, according to the word on the street, in the state of California, that said that they were making a concerted effort to invest in privately owned for-profit prisons. Is that urban legend, or is there truth to that? Like, is there evidence that meeting actually took place?
What's that? I forgot one of the cats from Bone Thugs and Harmony, the one that was ill recently.
Crazy Bone, Busy Bone, somebody Bone.
Yeah, one of the Bone brothers. They talked about him. I'm glad he's okay. And even though they were very ratchet in terms of this music, I saw them last year at one of the so-called 50th anniversary of hip hop concerts that they had in Chicago. And but yeah, so again, that's something else. It's another subject we need to talk about one day. The so-called 50th anniversary. If that was a 50th anniversary, how come we didn't celebrate the 25th anniversary in 1998?
Right, that's a good question. We didn't think about that.
Yeah. So no, I think again, like I said with the Willie Lynch piece, I don't know. I'm not sure. I wasn't there, but people are saying it did happen, and I can see it happening because you saw that shift around that time. You saw the shift from the conscious hip hop and the golden age of hip hop. You saw it shift and gradually start just getting totally ratchet. That's all they were promoting. Even though we did have artists that came forth like the Commons, like the Black Stars, like the Fugees and the Dead Prez and others the Roots who still kept bringing that consciousness in the music, and Public Enemy, KRS-One, other rappers still continue to make conscious music, Rakim, but they start playing them out and start pushing the more ratchet, ignorant music, and force feeding us that.
So as far as you know, no one has come out and said that they definitively were at this meeting and that it occurred. No rapper, no DJ, no producer, nobody.
I can't think of that. No, I can't think. I'm trying to. What Bones said. He talked about the letter. One of the Bones. Yeah, but yeah.
Because I don't know if that's internet chatter or if this is something that actually happened. Because we hear rumors, but I don't know that I've seen anything that validates the claim.
It's been out for a while. I mean, when we first started on this project, I remember bringing forth that letter at one of the presentations we did, 10 years ago. So the letter's been out for a while. People talked about it.
Now, Clear the Airways Project and CMOTAP have linked up to engage in this fight against Netflix, as well as the radio stations and so forth. Did you guys ever consider starting your own streaming platform, or Clear the Airwaves or CMOTAP?
Not that I know of. I know with Clear the Airways Project, we looked at it as a project that we thought when we started it wouldn't take too long when we were with other organizations would inform the people of the ratchetness in the music. And so we didn't make it as an organization. We work, like I said, CMOTAP is an organization. But no, I haven't. I do a conscious hip hop show, and it's online. It's every Friday night. like again, for the past 25 years, but that's me and my cousin as not as individuals, but because we put it out to the masses. It's called a weekly wrap up, conscious hip hop and classic funk. We get off into the funk too a little bit after we do some hip hop.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Now, you Clear Airways Project was also instrumental in helping to shut down a radio station. What can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, we well, one of the people we work with, one of the groups we work with, Rage Against the Ratchet, out of Philadelphia, they actually were filing complaints with the FCC, and they had a campaign. Not just them, but others were filing complaints constantly with the FCC. The FCC, the Federal Communication Commission that we mentioned earlier, they have a complaint form. And if you think about, I'm in Gary, Indiana, but my homegirl, Janet Jackson, when that happened at that Super Bowl with the European artist exposing her breast, there were so many complaint forms on that. CBS got fined. They had to pay a serious fine for that. I believe it was CBS was the network that covered it, whatever one of those big three networks. So they have decency standards. And when it comes to music, you cannot play indecent or profane content between the hours of 6 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock at night, because those are the hours that our children are most likely to be listening. Now they do, they said, and they talk about this on their page, where they uphold the First Amendment rights to free speech. But however, when it comes to things like that, certain things you can't do, just can't do, like, scream fire in a crowded building. And right now, that's why we talk about how, them telling us to kill Black people on all these radio stations in our community, where we're having this fratricide going on. That's equivalent to fueling these fratricidal fires, playing all this ratchet kill Black people music. And so they also say that after 10 o'clock at night, they give you a little leeway. But they said obscene content is never allowed. And we're saying that obscene content is played constantly 24/7, 365 on these radio stations. All you got to do, whatever city you're in right now, when you get done, monitor, hate listen for a second, and you will hear. Bro, when we wanted to file complaints, we have group sessions where we get together and file complaints. And we would do this. I'm telling you, we would listen to the monitor the station between, like, we do, say, 11 o'clock in the morning. By 11:30, they play like 4 or 5 songs. 4 out of 5 you can file a complaint on. This is how horrible it was. So our brothers and sisters, Rage Against the Ratchet, kept filing these complaints on this station, and the stations changed their format. And so one of the brothers asked him, why'd y'all change your format? Dude, I couldn't afford to keep filing these, paying these fines. We were getting fines, so they went over the news or something. He said he couldn't afford to keep paying them. These bigger conglomerates, they brush them off their shoulder. The station, and I'll try to be quick with this, but the Crawford station that's right here in Hammond, that promotes Hammond, Indiana, that permeates this poison throughout the Chicagoland area. They also have other stations all around the country that do conservative talk and Christian talk. They said they make so much money from this ratchet kill Black people station that they can finance a lot of the other stations.
Interesting. Wow, that's like in the colleges, the football team makes so much money that it finances the whole college, basically.
Yeah, and a lot of these colleges are bringing Sexy Red to perform at their colleges. Bro, did you see her? And I know did you see her? I don't know what country artist it was, but she comes out on the stage with this country artist, man. All these Europeans in there. We ain't going to no country concerts, and starts twerking, man.
I did not see that. No,
bro. I mean, it's just, and again, this goes back to your question, what was talked about at the forum, the CMOTAP forum last week. It goes back to that in terms of how they're setting us up, how they're dehumanizing us.
Yeah.
Calling yourself a glorilla yourself. You're on Good Morning America, and calling yourself a glorilla. Every time you look up, Snoop Dogg is on a commercial.
Yeah. All right. So we're about to close out the hour. I just want you to reiterate again what the Clear the Airways Project and CMOTAP initiative is as of right now. Go ahead.
So it's an open letter to Ted Sarandos, the co-chief executive officer of Netflix. That's from CMOTAP, the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People. We're saying we got his address and everything in California. Yeah, we have the address that it's Los Gatos, California. GATOS is where their headquarters is, 100 Winchester Circle. I'm gonna try to do this quick. The purpose of this letter, sir, is to express outrage at your ill-advised and ill-named release of Netflix Good Times reboot. This insulting cartoon has only the most superficial and negative relationship to the original Good Times television series. The claim by some of the creators that this is a satire is so bogus as to not warrant response. The great satirist took on powerful people, not the people in the ostensibly less powerful position. When powerful people such as yourself and Seth MacFarlane portray African people in this way, you are ridiculing us and not satirizing us. Historically, such ridicule has often preceded actual violence against people, as we talked about. Again, that's going off the letter. I'll state it in the letter. Again, historically, such ridicule has often preceded actual violence against people, ridicule. Hollywood's Birth of a Nation preceded the rebirth of the Ku Klux Klan in the Red Summer of 1919, in which more Black people were lynched in the U.S. than any other year of its history. It's just one example of that sequence. If you do not understand this reference, Google it. It's not our purpose of this letter to educate you comprehensively. However, we will take the time to review with you the seven of the specific offensive messages delivered in your trailer for the series. This is just in the trailer. Number one, Black people are ugly. Portraying the father figure's face with a small cranium and wide jaw in such a way as to fit the template of Magilla Gorilla is not funny. It is a part of a long-standing trope of whites making simian references to African people. Ironically, Thomas Jefferson made similar references in his notes on the state of Virginia. We'd have thought that you would not be guilty of the same exact hypocrisy. Message 2, Black people are stupid. Having a father ask his son, is it possible for his daughter to get a disability for her face is not funny. It is ridicule. It is, and in the tradition of another long-standing trope. Message 3, Black people are violent and criminal from birth. Portraying Black babies as selling drugs and shooting automatic weapons at each other is not funny. It is all too real. Message 3, Black people are rude, crude, lewd, hypersexual. Portraying a bug-eyed dog watching a man with the profile of a gorilla having sex with a Black woman doggy style while slapping her bottom is not funny. It is not satire, it is ridicule. Portraying Black teachers and alcoholics sipping from her flask, nicotine addicted, with cigarettes in her pocket. Pedophile, making sexual loaded comments about one of her students is not funny. Message 5, Black people's struggle for freedom, justice, and equality is a joke. Using Rosa Parks' name as a rebuke is not funny. Portraying Harriet Tubman having sex with Gwyneth Paltrow, as MacFarlane did in earlier cartoons, is not satire. It is ridicule and the recurrence of a sick MacFarlane theme. Message 6, Black people are worthless. Portraying a Black father telling his children he was dumb for not wearing a condom when his wife conceived them is not satire, it is ridicule. Having your characters call a Black woman the B word or a Black boy the N word is not funny, it is offensive. Message 7, Black people have nothing sacred that white people are bound to respect. Superfluous reference to our ancestors, ridicule of Jesus portrayed as white, ridicule of Jesus portrayed as Black, and ridicule of God with a Black voice portrayed with lavender and turquoise fingernails, superfluous reference to an ancient African god that you talked about at the last part. I say Anubis, so you have the correct name. I'm sure you'll say it in a minute. And to the ancestor Rosa Parks is sacrilege to the main objects of worship of Black people in the United States. Please note that it did not go unnoticed how you did not make reference to Muhammad, Abdullah, or the god Allah in this trailer. You obviously learned the lesson taught to the Solomon Rushdie in his ill-advised attempts at humor. True satirists don't generally spare foes in their they consider dangerous, but bullies do. Since you have released all 10 episodes of this atrocity already and appear to have the intent to leave them available to the public indefinitely, there is no room for negotiation. We are going to exercise our right as a free people to withhold our dollars from your enterprise for as long as you show this outrage, and to withhold our dollars for at least an equal amount of time after you stop. And that's from James McIntosh, Dr. James McIntosh, and Sister Betty Dobson, and those are the co-chairs of CMOTAP.
Okay, salute to them. I agree with that 100%. I'm sure there's people that are watching this that will agree with that as well. And the call is for people to copy paste and send a snail letter or put that in the email. What's the next step with the letter?
You can send that to snail mail. You can send it electronically on TikTok. You can put it out there on Twitter them. You can send it to all of them. Send it to Renata. Make sure the Renata Shepherd sees this. Make sure the actors see this. Make sure Steph Curry sees this. Of course, Seth MacFarlane and the president of Netflix will be seeing this. And again, this is out right now. And please share it. It needs to go out. then we need to put that pressure on them. This is outrageous. People are saying this is the worst thing ever in television, the worst depiction of African people ever on the screen.
Okay, so I'm gonna do my best to copy paste that, put that up on offthecorner.net. That website again is offthecorner.net. I'm gonna do that inside of the next hour. This way, anyone watching this, if you want to copy paste that letter, you can do so by visiting offthecorner.net. Brother Kwabena, we thank you for joining us again, brother, and laying it out the way you do, man. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
All right, my brother, we appreciate you for having us, man. We're gonna win this fight, man.
And CMO Tap is doing another conference this Saturday. Are you moderating that conference as well?
I will be one of the co-hosts on that conference. It's the 99th. We're on the 99th anniversary of Brother Omar Wally, Malcolm X. This weekend, what better way to honor him as to do things as things happen all around the country? This is one of the things that we can do. Malcolm
Absolutely.
will not be having this.
Absolutely. And to put things in historical context, today is also the anniversary of the MOVE bombing in Philadelphia.
Wow, man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna see, maybe we could touch base with you again next week so you can tell us what happened on this coming Saturday with the CMO Tap event.
I would love to keep the people updated in that manner.
Okay. That sounds great, brother. So I'll reach out to you during the week. Maybe we'll bring you back on next week.
All right, right on.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
All power, brother. Thank you.
All right, peace.
Peace.